Of course, big up to all the women who are making our society a better place. Trust me, women play very important roles in our society. And for the men out there, please, let's give our women time to shine, because there's so much has been happening in this country. As you know very well, even parliamentarians refuse to pass the 2/3 gender rule. But trust me, there's a wave coming. So stand by for more. In studio, I'm joined by two able ladies. Of course, it's a Women's Day, and trust me, today is all about the women in studio. Sheila Bergen from IHUB and Nekesa Were, also from IHUB. They'll be telling us about the journey as the women, of course, in tech, and also they have so many amazing programs in Garissa and Marsabit. All that will be touching base on right here in studio. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Sheila,
Yes.
how's the traffic?
Not so bad, but I didn't know the right road to come to this place.
Oh, okay,
So, yeah.
okay. It's
But
okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I got lost as
Karibu
well,
sana.
actually.
You also got lost?
Yep.
What happened? You went to the Boma Hotel?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
It took me, I think, 10 extra minutes
Okay,
to
no
get
worries.
here.
Welcome. You're now at Switch TV Studios now. Now feel
Thank you,
comfortable.
it's great.
All
It
right.
looks lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you said the pace. Unasema tunacheza chini kidogo. Anyway, now IHUB
Yes.
itself, when you talk about IT, when you talk about so many things actually, and of course women in STEM, women in tech, not so many people conversant that even women can actually carry this load, the pressure, the demand. I'll start with you, Nekesa. How is it working at IHUB?
It's great. I think the thing that keeps me going back every day, well, other than the paycheck,
Okay. Of course,
is-
bigger picture.
is just, I mean, we're an innovation space.
Yeah.
And so that means that there's always a new idea coming out. There's always a new innovator in the market.
Okay.
There's always a new product. And so every day we literally do not know what to expect.
Okay.
You know, when we go in, it's fresh, it's
Okay.
exciting.
Okay.
And I think it's really spaces like ours hold people to account in
Okay.
terms of we should really always be thinking forward.
Okay.
So at the IHUB, it's about we're always running, you know, because there's a global market that we have to keep up with.
Sure. Interesting. All right. I believe her sentiments are not so similar with yours. Maybe your sentiments, Sheila.
I think it's one of the greatest places to work because, first of all, you get to see the passion of mostly young Kenyans who are trying not just to change their own narratives, but to impact the lives of people using different products that either they're leveraging technology or they want to incorporate technology to make sure that they reach a wider base. That, I think, for me, is bigger than anything else. I think another thing that I really like about the IHUB is it's very diverse. Like, we have a kids program, kids who are like 5 years old.
Okay.
You see kids, you know, thinking about solutions that they can use technology with. And we also have people who are much, much older. So it's a community of literally everybody.
Wow.
And that, I think, for me, is why I love IHUB.
Interesting. I think I started this interview on a wrong footing. I think we needed to define IHUB. What do you do? What do you guys do actually? Now, I guess maybe take us through that activity. What IHUB itself? What do you guys? Your core business? What do you do?
Okay, so our core business is building communities.
Okay.
And just like Sheila said, I mean, our community is extremely diverse. Yes, we have children, we have women, we have men. We have people of literally almost all nationalities represented at the IHUB. And so in building those communities, what we do is try and figure out what resources, what information, what support do they need to grow their businesses.
Okay.
And so we do that in 3 key ways. One of the ways we do that is through our entrepreneurship pillar, and that's what Sheila leads.
Okay.
And this is basically just helping people to grow their businesses. And so do they need a mentorship network? Do they need business coaching? And so on.
Okay.
Second way we do it is through our research pillar.
Okay.
And this is really knowledge and learning, because anything that we do, we want it to be based on stats. We want the numbers. We want the information to educate. Do we need to improve our products? Do we need additional products to support this community? That's the core of what we do.
Okay.
And then the third way that we do it is through software development, software development training. And so that means that we are building a community of developers, training them so they have skills that meet what the global market is looking for. and then give them access to job opportunities so they can develop their products.
Okay.
And also as the IHUB, we do offer a software consultancy where we develop products for organizations.
Wow, interesting. Well, that's now understood. Let's now go back to our conversation. Challenges.
Yeah.
Yes, you're working also in an environment where men are there. And you know, by when I say men, we have problems also from our side. And I understand you guys go through so many challenges. Superiority complex also is part of the recipe that men offer to you guys. So maybe Sheila, you can tell us, as much as you traverse different parts of this country sometimes, how is it working with other men? Not all the men are actually the same, but other men.
Well, I think the biggest challenge about being a woman in this industry is mostly perception. People think you're not good enough. So for a woman to be in tech, you can't be mediocre. You have to be really, really good at what you do, because everybody is kind of expecting you to fail in so many ways. If you're an entrepreneur, there are very few avenues for you, for instance, to engage customers. There are few opportunities for you to fundraise if you're doing that. There are few opportunities for you even to get hired and be part of a software development team. So those dynamics, just life dynamics, for instance, makes especially men doubt a lot of women in the industry. And because of that, you'll find that a lot of women who are actually in tech, they are extremely good at what they do, because you have to always constantly prove yourself. And because of that, I think it helps sharpen your skill. It also helps you look at perspective, I think, just naturally, differently to what men does. So a lot of solutions that women in tech, for instance, come up with are more people-centric, They are more nurturing in nature. They look at sectors that people would mostly consider impactful, and because of that, I think obviously those sectors have a lot more challenges because you're dealing with people. But I think mostly it's just a perception problem, because people are constantly hoping or waiting for you to fail, and they're not giving you as many opportunities for you to present your case or for you to even prove yourself. Those, I think, present a much bigger challenge than I would say anything else. But on the other hand, technology gives us an almost equal platform, So if, for instance, I develop a product and you develop a product, when we put it in front of a customer, they will not know if it was developed by a woman or by a man.
Very true.
If it has value, people will use it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about technology, that I feel a lot more women should get into, because it does not have a face. It does not have a voice. It doesn't have a look. It's just a product, it's just a solution, and anyone can actually use it regardless of who made it. So I think that's why I like this industry.
Now, Nekesa, is there pressure to fit in? Because as Sheila said, you need to prove yourself. It's an industry where, of course, where men are involved, sometimes you need to really go hard, thick skin it is, but at the end of the day, the bigger picture is you're developing yourself. Now, is there pressure sometimes now you're kind of overwhelmed by pressure? It comes back and hits you so hard.
If you keep to yourself, yes, there's pressure. I think one thing that Sheila and I and other women in the space have found is that there's so much value in having a network, a support network. If you keep to yourself, I mean, you're just going to get eaten up amongst the women. Exactly. And it kind of breaks the narrative that women do not want to support each other. When we speak, at least about women in tech...
We get into that. Actually, we have to talk about it.
Dear.
Yes.
But for women in tech, the thing that we realized pretty early was that we really needed to support each other. And so I think incidences of breakdowns or just people totally not wanting to be part of the ecosystem those incidences have gone down. Just because now, at least speaking for Kenya, there's this broad network, a very supportive network of women in tech.
Interesting. Now, women not supporting women. This has been a very rhetoric, it's just for quite some time. Since even in the Bible, we have incidences where now it's just been betrayal, left, right, center. But now, back to Sheila and Nekesa, this is something very interesting. Why is this happening? Because now, for example, I like your, just an example, I like your, what is this called? Your eyebrows, is it? Now, maybe they design you, just an example. Let's talk about physical attributes now here. I like your eyebrows. Now I'll ask you, where, maybe who designed it, or maybe who kind of made it the way? I won't even tell you, by the way. Like, that's how ladies like operate. Like, it's just a matter of sharing this idea to your fellow lady. Let's look good together. Where did you buy that top from? I imported this. No, you know, you can't even tell her. You see now, you know what I mean? Huh? So Sheila, what is really happening to this competitive nature that women have? There's just so much competition. What is happening?
It's a human attribute. It's not a women attribute.
Is it? No, no, no. I think from where you see it as men.
I think that is the. I think that is the agenda that is being driven by men. To be very honest, no. For sure.
I'm talking
they will
about
only. Let me tell you an example. So, there are so many planes flying right now, right?
Yes.
Do we hear about that? No. But if one plane falls down today or crashes, we will hear about that, right?
Sure.
And so this is, if I decide to change the narrative about flying, I will only focus on the number of planes that crash. So will people fly? They won't fly.
The philosophy angle, Sheila,
No,
is actually
no.
bringing in
It's
here.
true. It's true. So they only pick instances of, it happens even with men. We've seen it so many times. It happens across the board. It's just a human attribute. But they will only focus on the few instances where a woman has not supported a woman. Look at what you have here. I'm a woman, she's a woman. We're in the same industry, and both of us are in the leadership of IHUB. If that was the case, that women don't support women, I don't think that would be a story. So I feel like we focus mostly on the negative things that happen to women, than that we forget that there are a lot more positive examples of women supporting women.
All right.
We've just talked about mentorship. We've talked about a network that supports each other in this industry. And we've seen tremendous growth in the industry simply because of that. So I feel even men don't support men sometimes. And women... And even women
Also
don't support
women
women sometimes. It's just a human thing. It depends with who you are.
I'll say, so I agree with you.
I know solidarity, some sort of solidarity.
it's a-
here.
No,
no,
You know, I'm all alone here, so I have to be
Listen,
very...
I'll try and try and bridge it. So I'll agree with Sheila. It's a human attribute. But I mean, I get your point. And what it is that society has conditioned us to compete. Whether men or women, we've been conditioned to compete. It's a rat race, right? And so if I use the example, if it's about eyebrows, yes, I want my eyebrows to look great. Society has conditioned me that, man, unless we're tight and in the same network, maybe I don't want your eyebrows to look great. Maybe that's it.
I mean, you have the same T-shirt as me.
Okay. Because I'm all alone in studio. I accept defeats, but still, you know what I mean. Now, we have a viewer from our SMS line was just said, I'll read it. Hi, Morning Live. Today being an International Women's Day, it's also my birthday. Happy birthday to you. And I want to celebrate myself being a single mom at 24 today and being strong and firm and being the best mom to my son. This is something worth celebrating. I thank God. Happy birthday to you. And of course, happy International Women's Day. Let's continue this conversation. When you talk about support system, you've actually, Sheila's just talked something about now, you guys kind of come together to build each other. But yeah, I can differ, but I will talk about it or maybe off camera because right now you guys will win this debate.
We'll beat you up.
You will beat me up in studio. But now, when you talk about support system, are there men who now come in to support you guys, Nakesa? Because now, this is a very important aspect. You know, being a destiny shaper and trying to support the people who feel maybe physically. You know, there's something called, there's the mental strength, physical strength. So physically, someone feels like you're kind of weakened, but you know yourself. Mentally, you're very upright. Are there people who come, especially the men, to support you guys?
Yes, but also I'll say that we look for them. Right? And so if I take our mentorship network, for example, there's both men and women. If I take personal mentors or personal business coaches that I have, there's both men and women. So as far as I mean, even though the agenda is promotion of women and their businesses and so on, we always acknowledge that, you know, you need diverse, you need a diverse group of people that are going to support you. So yes, for the IHUB, Our membership is currently about 70% men,
Okay.
30% women.
Okay.
And the men do bring a lot to the table that
Okay.
we're extremely grateful for.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about competition between men and women, for example, in your organization, sometimes, you know, we have these performance reviews, how guys are doing. Do you have them?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's an SOP in so many companies. Now, is there a situation where a man has felt, Sheila's beaten me in this now, she will actually not try to kind of manipulate her success story, bring her down? As you mentioned, we are human. And you mentioned men are actually part of this jealousy affair and everything. So have you ever had a situation where a man just wants you down completely?
I don't think we've had any situation like that. But I feel like I mentioned before, the beauty of tech is it's very output focused, right? And so because of that, if for instance you're making a product, if the product works, it works,
Okay.
period. It doesn't matter. So even you, I mean, you will see that what you did does not work.
Sure.
So because of those dynamics, it's very hard for you to say, for instance, you know, naonewa, you know,
It's true.
this person is just against me because of ABCD. If you can show for sure that your output is the output that was expected, then it doesn't really matter in what aspect or the gender, for instance, in this case. So I haven't even heard of
Such an
such
experience.
instances
Okay.
where people say, okay, it's because of my gender that this has happened. But there are cases that happen, but for us, I think for me personally, I haven't been able to see that. However, I've seen in the startups that we work with, in the companies that we work with, I've seen how that team dynamics play a part, especially when hiring.
Okay. Okay.
So a lot of the times people will say, okay, I don't want to hire this particular gender because of these reasons.
Okay.
So for instance, I'm running a company, I don't want, and this I think for me is the most disappointing thing I think I keep hearing. I don't want to hire, for instance, a woman because let's take 3 months off. I'm trying to build a company here. If they're going off for maternity, it means I'm losing money. They don't look at it in the long run. So what happens when they come back? Also, science, statistically, women are more loyal to organizations. So if you look at it in the long run, then you would definitely hire a woman. And so in those instances of hiring and placing software engineers within teams, women get disadvantaged because of nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So those are the only, I think, examples I can think of.
Okay. Now, like I said, you run programs in Marsabit in Garissa. Maybe tell us more about that.
So actually, Sheila's better placed to tell you about that because she runs them. But what I will say is, I mean, it just goes towards our agenda of building communities and also understanding that different communities know better what issues or challenges they face, and so therefore are better placed to tackle them. So the work that we're doing in Marsabit and Garissa is really about catalyzing that innovation process for those communities to be able to solve for themselves.
Okay. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Okay. So the program is with MasterCard and a company called Adesso, which has been working in arid and semi-arid areas for a long time. And it's basically tackling the drought issue. So for the longest time, you know, we've had droughts, especially in northeastern region. And the approach has always been, we come to you and tell you what you need to do, not ask you to come up with solutions for the problems that you've encountered. There's so many like people within those communities that have very innovative ideas and solutions to the problems that they've encountered for a long period of time. And because of that, we wanted to go to this community and work with them their way to solve that particular challenge. So it's handling drought resistance, preparedness and resilience, and it's a community approach where you work with the community, let them work on the solutions for the problems that they face themselves, and build solutions with the community.
Okay.
So it's a bottom-up approach, and actually it's very community-centric approach,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
And I think for me, the biggest thing about this program that I have seen, especially today being International Women's Day, is in both counties where people would say, well, you know, women are not given a voice.
Okay.
Innovation gives everybody a voice.
Absolutely.
We have a group of women in Garissa who are working on women empowerment program, where they want to train women, because when the men move with the kettle, the women are left behind.
Yes.
So they don't have any source of income. They don't have anything to do. So they just wait on the men. So these women are looking at empowering more women in the community to take up different skills so that they can also contribute to the family economically. I think that's powerful. Okay. We also have another group in Marsabit, again of women, who have come together to work on different products. So Marsabit is not as dry. It doesn't experience, especially where these women are, doesn't experience as much drought as Garissa. So they mostly have a lot of milk in plenty. So they're working with the communities to empower women to have an alternative revenue source. And I think those two groups, I think for me, coming from communities where a lot of conversation has been women are not given a voice. I think it's very powerful.
All right.
Yes.
Last sentiments, very short. What can you tell young ladies who are trying to make it up in this tech industry, STEM industry, actually?
I would urge them to join our Women in Business program. We are looking to build the number of women-led and women-owned businesses. And so for us, the great output would be that we have women being able to earn a lot of revenue from their businesses. Our statistics have it that 90% of entrepreneurs, when they're women, are going to contribute 90% of their income to their families and to community.
Yeah, sure.
And so for me, that's a great agenda to have, because by getting more women in business and tech, we actually are building our societies.
Thank you so much, lovely ladies, for coming to studio today. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank
you,
you.
Sheila and Nekesa. Let's hope our young ladies will emulate what you're doing. Good job you're doing also. Sorry about getting lost to Switch TV, but you're welcome next time.
Thank you.
All right, now taking a short break. When you come back, you continue the different conversation right here on the show. So keep it Switch TV.